Jai Shri Ram. I'm very sorry I was not able to upload any videos for nearly a week, more than a week. There were personal reasons. I hope I will be forgiven. And today I begin the next canto, that is Canto 100. So the summary of the canto: placing Bharat on his lap, Sri Ram gives him instruction in judicature under the pretext of inquiring after the welfare of his father and others. So now we start the canto. Sri Ram beheld Bharat fallen on the ground with folded hands, wearing matted locks on his head, clad in bark, and as such painful to the sight, like the sun at the time of universal destruction coming at the end of a cycle. Anyhow, recognizing his younger brother Bharat, pale-faced and emaciated as he was, Sri Ram lifted him up with his hands. Smelling the head of Bharat as a token of affection and embracing the sign of Raghu, nay, placing him on his lap, Sri Ram tenderly questioned him as follows: "Where, I wonder, has our father gone, my darling, that you have come all the way to the forest, leaving him alone? So long as he is alive, you ought not to have come to the forest under any circumstances. I am glad I behold after a long time Bharat, though difficult to recognize him because of his pale countenance and emaciated limbs, come to this forest from a distant land." "How have you come to the forest, my darling? Does the king, our father, survive? I ask you that you have come to this place. I hope the miserable king has not departed to the other world all of a sudden. I hope, O gentle brother, your sovereignty, which has come down from an eternity, has not been lost, tender of age as you are. Are you rendering service to our father, my darling, of unfailing prowess? Is King Dashrath, our father, who is true to his promise and has performed a number of Rajashya and Ashwamedh sacrifices, and who is resolute upon righteousness, enjoying good health? Is the celebrated Vashishta, the preceptor of the Ikshvakus, who has realized Brahma, or is a mind-born son of Brahma, is learned in all the branches of knowledge, ever devoted to virtue and possessed of great splendor, duly honored by you, my darling? Is Kaushalya as well as Sumitra, who is blessed with good progeny, happy? Hope the glorious mother Kaikeyi too is rejoicing. Is your personal priest a son of Vashishta, who is rich in humility, born of a noble pedigree, a man of extensive learning, free from spite and skilled in all pious and sacred rites, treated with honor by you? Does the priest employed by you to look after the sacred fires, who is well versed in the procedure of conducting sacrificial performances, is endowed with intelligence and guiltless of disposition, invariably inform you in time about a sacred fire having already been or going to be fed with oblations? Do you hold in high esteem gods and maidens, dependents, elders, kinsmen of your father's age, the aged, the physicians, as well as the Brahmanas, my darling? Do you respect Sudhanva, your teacher of the science of archery, who is equipped with knowledge relating to the use of excellent arrows discharged without uttering spells and missiles propelled with the utterance of spells, and well versed in political economy? I hope counselors who are valiant like you and full of learning, have controlled their senses, are born of a high pedigree, and know the meaning of science, have been secured by you, my darling. a secret well guarded by ministers who are the foremost counselors and well versed in politics, is the root of victory of kings, O scion of Raghu. I hope you do not fall a prey to excess of sleep and wake betimes. And do you contemplate during the late hours of the night on the methods of acquiring wealth? I hope you do not deliberate alone without consulting anyone, nor do you take counsel with many. I hope the decision arrived at by you through deliberation with your counselors does not reach the public before it is carried out. I hope, considering your interest fully, you launch an enterprise betimes with a modest beginning but pregnant with great potentialities, and do not deter it, O scion of Raghu. I hope your vassals actually know of all your projects only when they have been duly carried out, or at least well nigh carried out, and not so long as they are yet to be carried out. I hope your deliberations, which have not been proclaimed, are not known to others through surmises or reasoning, and the deliberations of others are known by yourself or by your ministers. I hope you prefer one learned man to thousands of fools, inasmuch as a learned man is calculated to do immense good in financial crisis. If a king maintains thousands or even tens of thousands of fools, no assistance can be expected from them in times of need. Even one minister who is talented, valiant, clever, and well versed in politics can bring a large fortune to a king or prince. I hope high class servants are entrusted by you with important duties, middling ones with second rate affairs, and third grade servants with menial duties, my darling. I hope you entrust first rate ministers who are past all tests of loyalties, are hereditary servants to the crown, and honest with highest duties. I hope, sore agitated by stern rule, the people in your state do not show disrespect to your ministers, O son of Kaikai. I hope priests conducting sacrifices for the benefit of others do not disregard you by refusing to officiate at your sacrifices, as they would a fallen man, or even as matrons would despise their own husband who had taken to wife a low-born woman who was excessively fond of her. He who does not get rid of physician adept in devices of aggravating a malady, a servant intent on bringing disgrace to his master, and a gallant warrior seeking kingly power is himself killed by these. I hope a man who is ever pleased and full of resolution, gallant and talented, spotless of character and well-born, devoted and clever, has been appointed by you as generalissimo. Have the foremost of your heroic warriors, who are possessed of might and skilled in warfare, and whose prowess has been treated with honor by you after being politely received. I hope you distribute daily provisions and disburse the monthly salary due to them at the opportune time in a suitable manner, and do not deter their payment. Salaried servants surely and positively get enraged even at their master when the distribution of their provisions and dispersal of their salary are delayed, and that itself is a very great harm done to the state. I hope all the principal members of your race, the Kshatriyas, are devoted to you. Do they devoutly and cheerfully lay down their lives for your sake? has a man of your own state who is learned, clever, ready-witted, and capable of delivering messages correctly, nay, who is able to distinguish between right and wrong, been appointed by you as an ambassador, O Bharat? Do you keep an eye on the 18 functionaries of the enemies and 15 functionaries of your own side through 3 unknown spies told off for each other? I hope you remain ever mindful of your enemies, expelled from their home by you and since returned, even though they are apparently weak, O destroyer of foes. I hope you do not patronize atheistic Brahmins, O dear brother, for ignorant and conceited as they are skilled only in preventing the mind and thereby diverting people from the righteous path. Banking solely on their logical acumen, these men of perverted intellect preach nonsense even in the presence of foremost books of Dharma. I hope you protect on all sides the prosperous city of Ayodhya, rightly so called because of its being unassailable, which has been occupied in the past. O dear brother, by our heroic forebears, which is provided with strong gates and remains crowded with elephants, horses, and chariots, which is inhabited in thousands by noble Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, who are ever devoted in their respective duties, have subdued their senses, and are full of great zeal, nay, which is crowded with palatial buildings of various patterns and is thronged with learned men and full of highly contented people. I hope the kingdom of Ayodhya, which is overspread with hundreds of altars constructed for sacrificial performances and crowded with well-established men, which is adorned with temples, sheds where water is stocked for free distribution to passers-by, and tanks, and peopled with highly delighted men and women, which is graced by social festivities and is full of well-cultivated fields and abounds in cattle, which is totally free from violence and does not depend exclusively on rains for its agricultural products, which is charming in point of topography and is purged of beasts of prey, which is completely rid of all fears and is studded with mines, nay, which is bereft of sinful men and was well protected by our forebears, is prosperous and faring well, O scion of Raghu. I hope the Vaishyas who live by agriculture and rearing the bovine race are all loved by you. Are these people, depending as they do on the vocation of a Vaishya, viz. Trade, agriculture and breeding of cattle, thriving well at present, O dear brother? I hope protection has been afforded by you to them by making available to them the objects desired by them and warding off evil, for all the inhabitants of one's land deserve to be protected righteously by a king. Do you keep your womenfolk pacified? Are they duly protected by you? I hope you do not repose excessive faith in them and do not confide your secrets to them. Are the forests which are the home of elephants preserved by you? Are milch cows in abundance with you? I hope you do not feel satisfied with the existing number of female elephants, horses, and elephants owned by you. Getting up regularly every day, do you show yourself well adorned to the people in the assembly hall in the forenoon, O Prince? I hope all your workmen do not appear unhesitatingly before you nor are they kept altogether out of your sight. In fact, a middle course is undoubtedly profitable in this behalf. Are all your fortifications fully supplied with wealth and provisions, arms and water, mechanical contrivances, and equipped with artisans and bowmen? Is your income sufficiently large to meet your expenses and your expenditure comparatively less? I hope your wealth does not go to undeserving men, O scion of Raghu. I further hope your wealth is expended exclusively in the cause of gods and mains, as well as over the Brahmans and unexpected visitors, warriors, and hosts of friends. I hope no pious soul who is pure of mind and sinless is convicted from greed when charged with some offense, though not found guilty by those well versed in law books. I hope no thief who has been detected at the time of theft and apprehended on sufficient ground and also questioned and found guilty is released on account of greed of wealth, O jewel among men. In an unhappy contention between an affluent and a financially feeble man, O scion of Raghu, do your ministers of vast learning judge the case impartially? The tears that drop from the eyes of men falsely convicted, O scion of Raghu, destroy the sons and cattle of a king who rules the people merely for the sake of pleasure, caring little for equity and justice. Do you seek, O scion of Raghu, to win over the elders, children, and foremost physicians by following the three means, viz., gifts, a loving mind, and polite words? Do you greet your teachers and elders, ascetics, deities, and unexpected visitors, as well as the trees standing at crossroads and believed to be the abodes of gods and Brahmins who have achieved the object of their life through their learning, character, and austerities? I hope you do not cause interruption in your religious practices by your excessive devotion to wealth and devoting the morning hours and forenoon to the pursuit of wealth and other secular interest, nor do you mar your earthly interest by your overemphasis on religion and allowing your religious duties to encroach upon the midday hours and afternoon reserved for the pursuit of wealth and other secular interests. Nor do you mar both your religious and secular interest by your self-indulgence in the form of avidity for gratification of the senses. Do you pursue all the three objects of human pursuit, viz., wealth and delights of sense and religion, or only during the hours allotted to each, O bestower of boons, dividing them according to time, O jewel among the victorious, knowing as you do the time appropriate for each? Do the Brahmans that have thoroughly grasped the meaning of all scriptures pray for your welfare along with the citizens of Ayodhya and the people of the countryside, O exceptionally wise prince? Do you abjure the following 14 failings of kings, viz., disbelief in other world, mendacity through greed, etc., anger, neglect of kingly duties, procrastination, shunning the wise, sloth, thraldom of the five senses, devoting thought to the affairs of the state without seeking the advice of others, taking counsel with those of perverted insight, failure to launch projects already decided upon, failure to keep secrets, failure to utter auspicious words at the beginning of every undertaking, and rising from one's seat indiscriminately to receive all those who happen to approach him? I hope you deal properly after knowing them in reality with the well-known 10 evils born of concupiscence, the 5 kinds of fortifications, and the 4 expedients recommended for kings, the 7 important limbs of a state, the 8 evils born of anger, or the 8 measures conducive to the welfare of a state, the 3 worldly objects of human pursuit, viz., religious merit, material wealth, and sensuous enjoyment, or the 3 kinds of power, viz., energy, the power of domination, and the power of counsel, the 3 branches of learning, viz., the 3 Vedas, or the knowledge of relating to agriculture, commerce, and other vocational pursuits, and political science, subjugation of the senses, the 6 strategic expedients, viz., coming to terms with the enemy, waging war against him, marching against him, bidding one's time to seek a favorable opportunity, causing dissension in the enemy's ranks, seeking the protection of a powerful ally, adversity brought by divine agencies such as fire, water in the shape of excessive rains or floods, epidemic or endemic diseases, famine and pestilence, and by human agencies such as officials, thieves, enemies, as a king's favorites, and the king himself when actuated by greed, the stern duty of a king as dictated by policy, such as to win over enemies' men whose emoluments have been withheld, who are greedy or haughty, who have suffered indignity at his hands, who are irate or have been provoked by him for no reason, who are afraid or have been intimidated, the following 20 types of monarchs who are not worth negotiating with, viz., a king who is yet a child, 2. Aged, 3. Who has been ailing for a long time, 4. Who has been ostracized by his own kith and kin, 5. Who is pusillanimous, or 6. Is surrounded by cowards, 7. Who is greedy, or 8. Has greedy associates, 9. Who has estranged his ministers and others, 10. Who is extremely voluptuous, 11. Who confers with fickle-minded persons, 12. Who speaks ill of divine beings and Brahmans, 13. Who is ill-fated, and 14. A fatalist, 15. Who is afflicted by famine, and 16. By military reverses, 17. Who mostly remains away from home, 18. Who has numerous enemies, 19. Who is in the clutches of adverse times, and 20. Who is not devoted to truth and piety. The entire population of the state setting forth on an expedition for conquest against an enemy, drawing up an army in battle array, coming to terms with an enemy and waging war against him, the first of which serves as a ground for the 2 policies of duplicity and seeking the protection of a powerful enemy, while the other serves as ground for the other 2 policies of marching against the enemy and bidding time to seek a favorable opportunity to march against an enemy. O highly intelligent scion of Raghu, do you hold consultation in accordance with scriptural injunctions with only 4 or 3 selected counselors collectively or severely to guard against a split among them and to prevent the secrets from leaking out, O wise one? Has your studies of the Vedas borne fruit in the shape of molding your conduct according to their injunctions? Are your undertakings fruitful? Has your spouse given birth to offspring? Has your learning borne fruit in the shape of culture and humility? I hope your conclusion is precisely the same as mine, which has been set forth in the foregoing verses, O scion of Raghu, and which is conducive to longevity and fame, and is attended with religious merit, enjoyment, and wealth. Do you follow the way of life which our father treads, and which our forebears trod, nay, which is in accord with the ways of the virtuous, and which is righteous in itself? I hope you do not partake by yourself of food nicely cooked. I hope you offer it to friends who seek it. Having obtained as his share and ruled in the right way over the entire globe, a wise Kshatriya holds sway over the earth, and administering justice to the people quite in consonance with righteousness surely ascends to heaven when detached from this mortal body. Thus ends Canto 100 in the AYODHYAKAND of the glorious Ramayan of Valmiki, the work of a rishi and the oldest epic. Jai Shri Ram.